One of my friends invited me for PIN meeting and I saw you there and you were a speaker. I didn't understand much. I didn't understand nothing about the property either. Even though I didn't understand all your words, I just felt like I'm going to get this. And for another 5 years, I was follow you through emails. Suddenly I find you on YouTube, just like that. I mean, I didn't even searching for you. You just came to me and that changed my life.
You've got a cleaning business, your husband's a builder and you've got a maintenance business, you've got a property business. How do you do it? What's the biggest tip?
So all the time our money are recycled. We invest for the next deal. My second deal, I didn't pay any deposit and I paid just 1 month rent. My third deal, I negotiate 2.5 months free rent.
What did your husband think when he saw the money coming in?
I was so scared to tell him I enroll for academy. I didn't want him to feel I will be failure.
But on average, how much are you making? Well, welcome to Winners on a Wednesday.
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming, but honestly, you're like a shining star in the academy. Everybody is so inspired by what you've done. You've got a cleaning business, your husband's a builder and you've got a maintenance business, you've got a property business, and how many rent-to-rents do you have now in total? Or how many have you signed in total?
Signed in total 26.
26. How do you do it? What's the biggest tip?
I started with very small studio. I was very determined to get at least one and just start. I was study so hard your books. I was listening to your voice every day for a few hours a day, to be honest, every time in the car. And I just take your energy. So every day I had your energy. I felt like you and I really want to be successful and started with the one which is really successful studio apartment, and as soon as you get your first one, everything comes easier and easier. And now I don't even need to search for properties; they just come to me.
Yeah, and your husband is now working on the business.
Yep.
And your daughter.
And my daughter, yeah.
You've actually sent her on the academy, and she's in her own right now become financially free.
That's right.
Following in her mother's footsteps.
Absolutely. I remember when she was so shaking and she didn't know if it's good direction. She invests her all saving, but I mean at the moment when I see her journey, she's so appreciated, and she's a queen now as well. Yeah.
I remember it was about 8 months ago, and she was shaking, and she's she was working. I think what was she doing? She was an apprentice, or
yes, she was doing hairdressing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember sitting down with her, and she was like, "My mum says I've got to do this, but I'm not sure." And I was like, "Look, your mum loves you, and your mum's been successful, and now the fact that she's got properties as well." So talk to me then, for anyone that's kind of wondering exactly what the business model is, how does it work? Talk me through what rent to rent is.
Okay, so rent to rent, it's a strategy when you rent property for the landlord or agent, and using management agreement contract, you rent it on a nightly basis, and I use as a service accommodation for my guests, and I charge super rent, which allows me to build my income on someone's property.
So you're basically making cash flow from a property that you're controlling but not owning.
That's right.
What happens if the landlord wants to do it himself?
I've never had this situation, but they're so open and so nice, and they really support me as well. The flat which I've got in Brighton, my landlady, she used to run her flat as a service accommodation, but she said she was too tired and she never had properly cleaners and she had bad reviews. And I promised her, listen, I will be success. I mean, just give me your house, and I'm sure I will be success, and I will bring you the money which you want. And at the end, I didn't even pay her deposit. She was so nice, and we had really close relationship together. And she's so happy I'm successful. It didn't work for her, but I mean, she's happy I can do it.
So why were you able to do it, but she wasn't?
I think she didn't have, well, definitely she didn't have any knowledge, I mean, properly knowledge. She just wanted to start, she had empty flat. Yeah, that was the issue. She didn't know about where to search for properly cleaners, where to advertise. She had double bookings. The flat people lied to her, like when we arrived to the flat, someone told her the carpet was washed, but we are professional cleaning company and we knew, you know, just someone came and spray and clean like that.
The thing is, I think if you're not educated and you're not wise, you can be a bit naive, and people can take advantage, and you can also have problems, as you mentioned, like double bookings.
That's right.
It's not just as easy as getting a property and sticking it on Airbnb. You need to have a channel manager, or you need to synchronize your calendar. You need to really have good systems in place, key safes, procedures, and also it needs to be legal. It needs to be ran, and a lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize that there's some restrictions in some areas.
Yep.
What's been your main patch? What's been your area?
Eastbourne and Brighton.
Okay.
And at the moment mainly in Eastbourne, and I'm really happy about Eastbourne. Some people think this is very small town and possibly no many guests might visit my city. However, I just realized Eastbourne is a town for retired people, so my income comes regularly. Compared to the Brighton, the nightly base, it's much higher. However, most our bookings are during the weekends. Right. So in a long-term distance, similar profit, but in here, I've got consistency, and it's cover every month or every week. In Brighton, brilliant profit, but I mean, I love my town. Eastbourne is brilliant.
And is that where you live, in Eastbourne?
That's where I live, yeah.
So I know your daughter has got properties in Brighton.
That's right.
That are very successful, but your patch is Eastbourne.
Eastbourne and Brighton.
And Brighton.
And Brighton, yeah.
So how do you do your market research? Let's say somebody's thinking of doing, because you look on the academy and you watch every week Winners on a Wednesday, all different strategies, all different areas, people doing serviced accommodation, even in Birmingham, Watford, London, Newcastle. You're doing it in Brighton and Eastbourne, but how do you do your market research on an area before taking on a property?
Yeah, I mean, before I even started, I studied really hard. The patch, well, actually, I studied about everything. Plus, also, my cleaning company covers lots of service accommodations, houses in Eastbourne and Brighton. So I knew occupancy rate.
Yeah.
And based on this, I knew I will succeed. Yeah, I spent hours. Basically, I spent hours to just
sort of due diligence.
Do the due diligence, yeah.
And when you say you spent hours doing your due diligence, what sort of things do you have to do? How do you do due diligence on an area? If you don't mind giving the secrets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, firstly, when I chose the city which I wanted to settle my business or my service accommodation, I wanted to check occupancy rate. So I went on Airbnb and Booking.com, those two most common websites for holiday lets. Then I checked the calendars, how other people for how many days people are booked during the month, and the price as well. I compare. Then when I did my figures, I always do best scenario, worst scenario, and possible scenario. In a possible scenario, if on a 50% occupancy rate, if I could earn at least some money or even £100, I know the deal would be good. Basically with me, I do not go anything less than £200 for 50% base. I know some people just do due diligence, and even if it's zero, they're happy to take the deal because during the summertime, usually the occupancy is like 60%, so they can get some profit each month. But I mean, if it's less than 100 or 200, I just rather go for this different deal than just have a hassle with.
And that £100-200 a month profit, that's sort of like worst case. If it's empty half the time, I still need to be making a bit of profit. But on average, how much are you making? So per property, what does an average month for an average property look like?
Okay, so in the summertime, those two, my first flats, I earn 2k each.
£2,000 profit?
Yeah.
Off your first 2?
Yeah.
No wonder you went and got a lot more.
Yeah, and then I took over with Lemara, with my business partner. We took 5-bedroom flat.
Yeah.
And our first profit was 3,500K clean profit.
Just on one property?
Just on the one property we took together. Damn. And then we invest our money to get another one. So usually if we get the money from the properties, we've got for the monthly rent, deposit, and for the furniture. So all the time our money are recycled. We invest for the next one, next deal.
So what about now in the winter? Now it's winter. I mean, what kind of profit? Like that first property that was making £2,000 a month, what's that making now?
So now the one in Eastbourne makes 600.
Okay.
I just did my all numbers yesterday. In Brighton, about 800.
Wow.
And it was really quite, I would say it was quite dead, because I had like 50% just occupancy during the October time.
But you still made £600.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your sort of like startup costs? So to be making that kind of money, £600 in the winter, £2,000 in the summer, on one property, how much money do you have to put down initially to get that property up and running?
As I said, my first deal was the most difficult, and I paid 6 months up front to get this deal.
Why did you do that? Why did you pay so much rent up front?
I really wanted it. I love a flat. I just fell in love. I knew it will be, it's just close to the train station, close to the sea, perfect place, and it was through the agent. My company wasn't existed for a long time on the market, and I just didn't know how to get this house. So the only option was to pay 6 months up front. But this first deal helped me with the other deals, because like, as I said, my second deal, I didn't pay any deposit and I paid just 1 month rent. My third deal, I negotiate 2.5 months free rent. So, I mean, it's just the first start, it's just when you're determined to have something and to have on the paper like feedback to get more.
That makes sense. So basically, so your first one, because you had a brand new company, I mean, there are ways around it. One way is what you did, just paying 6 months rent up front. Sometimes people will be a guarantor, or they'll bring a guarantor in, or they'll co-rent a rent and they'll bring a partner in. But you paid 6 months rent up front. And how much rent was that into? What was the monthly agreement?
So it's £600. Okay. So I pay 3,600.
So it's not crazy amount of money.
No.
And then that was making you £2,000 a month throughout the summer. And you use that to get your second, your third, your fourth, and start building your portfolio.
Yeah.
What have been the biggest challenges with management?
Well, as I said, my husband helps me a lot.
What did he think? What did your husband think when he saw the money coming in?
He doesn't see his dad. He did it. I was so scared to tell him I enroll for academy.
Oh, really? Why? Why were you scared?
I didn't want him to feel I will be failure, or he might think this is scam. I knew, I strongly believe it, but because I was scared, he might didn't like it, so I didn't tell him until I start to succeed after 3 months or something like that. So he can seize the profit, but I mean, he hasn't got connection. He can't see my account whenever he wants.
And now he works in the company?
And he works, Well, actually, we opened second company for him, which is the maintenance and lettings.
Yeah. So he's happy now? He's
happy now, And he takes lots of responsibilities as well, because he texting and messaging to the customers. He likes, not really likes, but he helps me with the bills as well, like to see who pays and who's not, just to check the account, which I hated to do it. I can go and speak to people. And
so is he like your assistant?
He's my assistant,
Wow. And your daughter as well. What did your daughter think when she saw how well you were winning and how many properties you were getting? What did she think?
After, a couple of days ago, after a course, when she attended to, she said, "Mommy, can we join venture?" Together.
And what did you say to her?
Of course,
But you said you need to go on the academy first. You need to get the training.
Yeah.
Why did you have interest? Because some people would try and teach their children what they've learned. But you might have done that, but you sent your daughter to the actual official training and said you need to invest.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
I really want her to be responsible responsible for her decision. Why I did that? Because I saw she couldn't find the place for herself. She didn't know what she wants to do, and she was quite struggle with work, with college. She had lots of thoughts what to do, but she just needed direction. And when I took her on the course, for £1 crash course, I didn't tell her anything about properties. I just want to see her feelings, how she feels, and is it something for her? And immediately she said, yes, I want to do that. And I'm doing exactly the same with my son. When he turns 16, it will be just in a couple months' time, I'm going to take him for the crash course. Because I know, I've got like a feeling, like a mother, he might be interested as well. He's not good at school. And I said to him, well, listen, you don't need to, he's in GCSE class, I mean, you don't need to read Christmas Carol, Romeo and Juliet, because I know how you hate reading. But if you could read at least one book for me, which I gave it to him, it's a Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and read 2-3 pages per day.
Yeah.
And that's the only book I want you to read. You don't need to read anything else, because that book brings you the future and brings you work, money, and whatever you want, your dreams. Not the other books which you don't like it and you need to read at school. And he agreed.
Wow. Do you realise how much of a boss you are?
Am I? I don't know. No.
I mean, what you've done is incredible, and you're changing your whole family, and you're changing the next generation. What's your strongest reason for doing this? What is it that drives you?
I think on the beginning, as I said, I love challenges and I wanted to learn new things, but I didn't think I can be successful. I just didn't even put into my mind I will be successful in property. I just wanted to I wanted to try. And I'm a person like, if I start to do something, I'm doing with all my heart. Then I thought, oh, it would be so lovely. I love traveling, so I said it would be so lovely to go for holiday once a month. And since April, we just travel almost every month somewhere. It's amazing when you've got funds to follow your dreams. And that was my dream. That was my personal goal. Because I started as a single cleaner, and I know how hard it is to work physically for 10, 12 hours every day. And they don't need to, doing like that and just calculate every penny. Oh, am I allowed, to buy shoes today or this month or not? I just didn't want the situation. I just wanted them to understand the money and do not work for the money, but just give them the knowledge how money can work for them.
Right. How have you scaled the business? Because you mentioned that you started just a single cleaner on your own. Now you've got a business, you've got people working for you, you've got lots of units. How have you managed to systemize that business?
It's still a little bit struggle because I'm on the way to find a good manager.
Right.
I had few of them and good stuff. It's a challenge. But mostly, Claudia helps me a lot. My husband helps me a lot. And I am workaholic. I just work many, many hours, but I love it. This is something what I love. And until I feel it, this is more for pleasure, not for the money. It's amazing. And
also you've got, quite a lot of properties that are cash flowing very positive. But now you're transitioning, obviously you're going to continue running that business, but you're transitioning into development and buying houses and developing them. Talk to me a bit about that.
That's my next goal. I feel like I'm a master at the moment with rent to rent, and I just want to next step, which next step is BRR, and I want to invest in property up north and renovate them. Of course, we will use my husband's company to renovate the property and just either sit on a house or just sell it and get the money back.
And you've been really smart because you've used rent to rents to give you cash flow. So you're now financially free. You don't have to work, you don't have to have a job, but now you've got a whole bunch of properties and you're saving money, and now you're looking at reinvesting that into building up your capital appreciation, your security, which I think is really, really smart. How did you even get into property in the first place? What was it that got you started?
Yeah, that's so funny history. One of my friends invited me for PIN meeting, property investment networking or something like that. That was in Eastbourne, and I saw you there. And you were a speaker, like a 30 or 20-minute speaker. I didn't understand much. I didn't understand nothing about the property either. Just I love your energy. I saw your energy, you know, your calculations, how you talk to me, even though I didn't understand all your words. I just felt like I'm going to get this. I'm going, you know, follow your path. And for another like 5 years, I was follow you through emails. You always, I think I enroll for something and you send me an emails, your company sent me an emails. I didn't even read because it was too much and I didn't understand. But I knew one day when my English develop, I'm going to find you. And suddenly I find you on YouTube, just like that. I mean, I didn't even searching for you, you just came to me. And that changed my life. It was something about rent to rent, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to sign for £1 course in Brighton. And since then, I wanted to do all the trainings. I wanted, you know, I felt grown enough, mature enough to follow your path.
Wow. So when you first saw me, you couldn't really even speak any English much.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And you've learned English.
Yeah.
Now you speak very well.
Thank you.
And that's incredible. How did you justify enrolling onto the academy? Because the academy is a very big investment. How did you justify that?
I had some savings, which I use. And with academy, it was funny story as well, because before I came for the course, I didn't understand, I didn't even know what is academy, but I just knew I really want to be a part of the academy. And I've been searching for the guys who can explain me a little bit more, because I want to be part of the family. And I didn't even hesitate. It was just quick decision. I think I transferred some money from few accounts. And actually, we've been saving for the house. And I said, that's probably I didn't even tell my husband what I did. Just transferred the money. I said, I'm ready, you know, to invest into my education. Because
some people would say, if you've got money, you're better off putting it into a house.
Yeah.
But you believe that your best investment is yourself. Why do you believe that?
Because, you know, in a short period of time, like, I don't know, 9-10 months, I got my money back, plus I sit on many, you know, on many properties. I mean, I've got like an asset from, it's a passive income, you know, from controlling other people's houses. So still I can buy a house if I want to, plus I've got income, plus I've got education, plus I can teach my children better family lifestyle. It's,
It's brilliant, and I think that you've been a massive inspiration to a lot of people, and I'm excited for this video to go out. What would be your best piece of advice to somebody that's just beginning to get started in property?
It's never too late. English, it's not an excuse, and create your reality.
I love that. Well, Izabela, you've been a dream to work with. I hope you've enjoyed being part of the academy as well.
Very much, absolutely. Thank you so much.
And this is just the beginning.
Thank you.
Well done. You're awesome!